أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. Now I'd like Brother Zen to present his lecture.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah. Beautiful recitation and very good hosting. MashaAllah. Assalamu alaikum, my brothers and sisters. I would have loved to have been there with you all. However, sometimes you have to utilize technology. And as it is the night of the first of Ramadan, I would like to congratulate all of my brothers and sisters on this great on the great month of Ramadan. So Ramadan Kareem to all of you, and inshallah, all of you will have a spiritual reawakening, inshallah, a physical reawakening, a mental reawakening, and your connection with Allah will be much stronger at the end of the month. Welcome to the final workshop, okay, workshop on Karbala. Today, inshallah, I'm hoping that you'll be able to see my screen. Can someone please confirm if you can see my shared screen? So you should be able to see agenda right now. Can someone shake your heads, please? Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much. So today's topic is going to be a conclusion of everything that we've done throughout the last 5 sessions, as this is the sixth and final one, and a particular focus on Karbala and personal development. And it all goes back to right at the beginning, our first session, okay, which was where we set the agenda, okay, where we talked about how Imam Hussein's sacrifice is universal, okay, how we can derive so many lessons from Imam Hussein's sacrifice in Karbala, okay. We asked a lot of important questions throughout the last 6 sessions, okay, or throughout the last 5 sessions, and this is the sixth one. We looked at what Imam Hussein's goals were, okay. Then we focused on the time frame, okay, all the way from the beginning of Islam, okay, to Karbala, to the journey towards Karbala, then the Karbala itself, the day. Then we focused on Imam Zain al-Abidin's speech and Lady Zainab, Sayyida Zainab's speech that shook Yazid's empire, okay. We also challenged a very important concept of, did the Ahlul Bayt travel back to Karbala after 40 days after the tragedy? And we looked at that very closely, and we were able to analyze that, and we broke it down completely, and we came up with an answer together, okay. We proved how Imam Zain al-Abidin and the family of Imam Hussein was able to travel back to Karbala on the 40th day, so the Arba'in of Imam Hussein. Okay, it wasn't 1 year in prison, it wasn't 2 years in prison. Okay, we were able to justify using physical evidence, but also logical evidence, okay, to prove that how Imam Zain al-Abidin and his family were able to get back to Karbala on Arba'in. Okay, so that was last session. Today is a conclusion of everything, okay, and let's just put it out there straight away. I want to put it on the table. Having 6 sessions on Imam Hussein and Karbala is never enough. We can talk about it for hours upon hours. We could have 100 sessions and we will learn something new every single time. Like my father always suggests to me, always tries to challenge me, that Karbala and Imam Hussein, there are realities that are unknown that we should be able to figure out every single time we wake up in the morning. Challenge yourself, challenge yourself intellectually. So, 6 sessions is not enough. However, let's try to bring it all together so we leave something again today that's practical for us, okay, as individuals. And also, as it is the first day of Ramadan, tonight's the first night of Ramadan, Karbala was all about a spiritual reawakening. It was all about a physical reawakening. So let us use Imam Hussein to enter the month of Ramadan so we can cleanse our hearts in a way that's the most powerful. That's what the school of the Ahlul Bayt gives us. Okay? So inshallah, we'll start with an introduction. We'll look at some big questions. Then we'll look at Karbala and personal development. I'll just give you quick 4 or 5 tips. Okay, then we'll conclude inshallah. Okay. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
اللهم صل على
Salli ala
محمد وعلى
Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. The first question I want to ask all of you: why is the martyrdom of Imam Hussein universal? How has it become immortal, as they say? I want you to just think about something. From the very beginning of mankind, okay, from Hazrat Adam all the way till today, there have been so many tragic incidents that have occurred. Okay, we can list them one by one, but we all know that they've occurred. Okay, even the last 3 or 4 years, so many tragic incidents have occurred. Even in your own life, we have tragedies that occur. But in these tales of sorrows and tragedies, okay, the events of Karbala are seen to be as prominent as the moon among a cluster of stars. Okay, human nature has a tendency, okay, we as individuals, so the young people, so that our young kids can also understand this concept. We as young people, okay, we have a natural, I guess, mechanism within us that tries to forget and obliterate bad memories, okay, as fast as possible. But that's the exact opposite when it comes to Karbala. This natural law or this natural phenomenon of human nature doesn't apply to Karbala. Even today, and 14 centuries has passed, okay, every year the martyrdom of Imam Hussein and the tragedy of Imam Hussein is remembered with more passion, with more dedication, with more emotional fervor than it has ever happened. Like I said, like I said, last time we met, 28 million people descended upon Karbala and Arba'in. Okay, so remember that. Okay, I think there's someone who's asking a question. Yes, brother Ali Nakvi.
Like, how does like how is human nature the opposite of Karbala?
Okay, so if you have a look at my screen, okay, have a look at my screen. I know that was a little bit hard to understand. We as human, okay, we have it's natural for us that if something bad happens to us as an individual, we want to forget about it. Okay, if a tragedy happens in our life or something scares us, your mind is designed in a way that you try to forget it as fast as possible so you can move on. Okay, so for example, Ali, let's say tomorrow, okay, God forbid, right, you're walking home and something really scares you, okay, it makes you shake, but you eventually get home safely. Now your mind is going to have a safety mechanism kick in straight away, right? It was a bad memory, it was a sad memory. Your mind is going to try everything in its power to try to get you to forget it. Okay, that's human nature. That's what we try to do, right? But Imam Hussein's tragedy is different. Even after 1400 years, even on the 1st of Ramadan today, we are listening or we are talking about the miracle of Imam Hussein's tragedy. That's how it goes against human nature. Okay? That's the miracle of Karbala. That's the miracle of Imam Hussein, alayhi salam. Okay? All right, so if any of you got a question, let's try to keep it as open as possible, okay, for the kids, for our youth. Okay? That try, if you've got a question, just put your, I think there is a, like a hands up sort of signal, raise hand. If you've got a question, click on that and I will get to you as fast as I can, okay? But you need to wait. Alrighty. So let's move on. Now, remember what we left with. We left with last session, we talked about the 40 days after Karbala, okay? We looked at how Imam Zainul Abidin with his family was released from prison by Yazid after those two famous historical khutbahs given by Imam Zainul Abidin and Sayyida Zainab, and how they returned back to Karbala in 40 days. And like I said, it always seems that we don't have enough time to talk about it, but there's something really, really important that we need to touch on, okay? And that is what, once the tragedy of Imam Hussein spread throughout the lands, how did his revolution achieve its goal in revitalizing the heart of the Muslim Ummah? Without a doubt, brothers and sisters, the Muslim Ummah was in disarray. And some would actually argue and say it was dead as a direct result of the Umayyad rule. Okay? Muawiyah, then Yazid. Okay? In particular, Imam Zainul Abidin alayhi salam lived for 35 years after the tragedy of Karbala. 35 years. And my young brothers and sisters who are listening, I want you to ask your parents, okay, because it is very sad and unfortunate that many of our parents, and myself included, and you as well, have this perception of our Imam of being a depressed, sad, always crying individual. This doesn't do justice to the man. He was a colossus. He was a colossal figure. There is no word in the English dictionary or in the English language that can describe Imam Zainul Abidin other than a colossus. He was a colossal figure. Because Imam Zainul Abidin is not just a great leader, he was a social reformer. He reformed the Arab society in a way that reawakened and saved the religion of Islam after the tragedy of Karbala. So if we use an example, Imam Zainul Abidin brought it home. He brought Imam Hussein's goal home. He achieved it. Okay. So the question is, straight away, how did he reform the society around him? There are many ways, but today let us focus on three. Okay. Number one, he knew how powerful the propaganda against the Ahlul Bayt was. Remember, since the time of the death of the Prophet, every single leader, okay, their goal was to do one thing, was to tarnish the reputation of Imam Ali alayhi salam, and then Imam Hassan alayhi salam, then Imam Hussein alayhi salam. It was the Umayyads used the propaganda machine. Okay, they were the best at it, and then the Abbasids took that mantle from them to destroy the character of Imam Ali alayhi salam, and then Imam Hassan alayhi salam, okay, and the Ahlul Bayt. All right, there's a question. I think Brother Ali Nakvi has another question he wants to ask. Yes, brother.
What does reputation mean?
Propaganda or reputation?
Reputation.
Reputation, that's a really good question. Reputation means how you are known to others. Okay, so you have a reputation, Ali, amongst your friends. You are known for something, right? You have a reputation of being kind, or you might have a reputation of being smart, or you might have a reputation of being good at sports, right? People have reputations. Okay, so that answer your question. Really good question again.
Mhm.
Because Imam Zain al-Abidin knew, even after his powerful khutbahs, right, that the propaganda against his family was so powerful, he knew that the Arabs, they were not ready to listen to his tabligh. They were not ready to listen to him. So what does he do? He doesn't focus on the general society. He purchases many, many servants, okay, and brings them into his household. Once they are into his house, behind closed doors, with no distractions, Imam Zain al Abidin teaches the true religion of his grandfather to everybody. Okay, brothers and sisters, there is a dog barking outside. Let me just close the door, please. Okay, so you don't have to hear all of this noise. Give me 1 second. I'm sorry. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. So behind closed doors, the Imam teaches the true religion of his prophet, of his grandfather, to these servants of his. Yes, Ali. Yes.
How does bringing servants in his house and teaching them like why does he do that? Because like the enemies are not ready to listen. Why does he bring servants in? Like what does that do?
I'm going to answer that question. Okay, so just listen and you'll get your answer to that. Okay. Now the reason why he focuses on these servants from around the Arab world was because he knew that they will come into his household with an open mind. Okay, some of them, in fact, were not even didn't even belong to the religion of Islam. Okay, some of them were from Persia. Okay, some of them were from Africa. They were not that traditional Arabs from Medina and Mecca. These servants were from all over the world. Okay, so we're talking about Africa, talking about Persia, we're talking about parts of Yemen, okay, Palestine, from there, from these places. So their hearts were not corrupted like the Arab world was at that time. He knew that if I bring these people in, they'll have an open heart. Many of them not even Muslims yet. Despite that fact, haven't you met some reverts? I've met some a lot of reverts who've come to the religion of Islam, especially towards the school of the Ahlul Bayt. You will find them more religious than us, even. You will find them more religious than those who are born in the religion, right?
What
Because
was
they
rebirth?
knew what darkness was and then they came towards the light. What do these servants do? What do these servants do? After learning, after learning the true religion of the Ahlul Bayt and the Prophet, okay, they go out and start doing tabligh. Okay, they go out around the communities, they go around Mecca and Medina, start teaching people, start teaching and getting through to people the true religion of Islam. Now, they come back to Imam Zain al-Abidin quite interestingly, and they say to Imam, "Oh Master, we're not getting through to the people. They're just not listening to us. What does Imam Zain al-Abidin tell them to do instead? He says, forget about the old people, go towards the youth. Go and teach them instead. They are the future. They are the ones who have the pure heart. They are the ones who should become the leaders of our community. So you, all of you who are young and sitting down right now, you, the Imam knew all the way then, and I've given you other examples as well, how the Ahlul Bayt focused on the youth. And even in this situation, right? Old people sometimes can be stubborn, right? Older individuals can be stubborn. Imam knew this. And when they come back, right? When they come back with frustration, they say, these people are not listening to us. What should we do? The Imam says, forget about them. I want you to focus on the youth, the young people. Go and do tabligh to them. Teach them. Okay? So number one, he purchases lots and lots of servants and they go out and do tabligh in the communities. Okay? Number two, I know that looks like a lot of writing, but it's quick. Okay. Secondly, he wrote Saifa al-Sajadiya. Okay. This is the greatest book, brothers and sisters, on supplications. The greatest book of du'as that you'll ever come across. And in fact, it is the greatest du'a book ever written in humankind. Okay, in history of humankind. All right. The book of supplications. He understood the fact that the Arabs had killed his father was a testament, was a clear indication that the Arabs had lost all of their relationship with God in their life. It had been severed. The fact that they could allow Yazid and Shimr and the likes of these evil people to kill his father, Imam Zain al-Abidin understood that they were more worried about the I. It's about the individual. They had lost sense of this concept of collectivism. They were more worried about how much properties they can own. They were more worried about how much wealth they can conjure up. They had lost their relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. A really, really important thing that we all need to be wary of and be very concerned about, but also protect ourselves from. This capitalist society is trying to make you individual. Think about yourself only. How much you have. How good clothes do you own? How many homes do you have? How much money do you have in your bank account? How many nice cars do you have? If you think that the environment is different to what it was during Imam Hussein's time than today, you are mistaken, brothers and sisters. It's exactly the same. There are so many equal things at the moment that are going on, right? This concept of I had become more important than the we. People have forgotten about that. When you have no relationship with Allah, the idea of collectivism becomes absent in your life. Whereas the very meaning of the Ahlul Bayt was always to highlight the importance of community, family, and a sense of collectivism. Never forget this idea, brothers and sisters. And I know it's hard because it goes against everything that you are getting bombarded by, right? This Western world is trying to make you an individual. It's trying to just make you think about yourself. It's trying to make you not worry about others. This is wrong. This goes against the teachings of the Ahlul Bayt. Okay. Furthermore, Imam Zain al-Abidin wanted to highlight that dua is what allows us to have a strong relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay. Before I go on, I think Ali has another question. Yes, Ali.
What things are the same right now, like from like their moms and right now?
Okay, I
Like
want you to have a look. I want you to have a look at the screen. Okay. Can you see where my mouse is going across? The Arabs at that time had been engrossed or had become so worried about worldly affairs that their connection with Allah had become broken. Okay. They had no relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because they were more concerned about money. They were more concerned about how many houses, how much land they can have. Right? This is the same sort of issue or same sort of problems that we're seeing in the Western world today. Right? In fact, capitalism is all about the individual. It's all about how much wealth can you consume, how much consumption can you do. The more you consume, the better it is. That's what they're trying to teach you. That's where the parables come. That's where they're closely attached to each other. Okay, that scenario to this scenario. Okay, all right, brothers and sisters, can I just ask you to hold your questions till the end because I'm running out of time. I've got so much to talk about. Okay, just hold your questions, write them down on a piece of paper, and the last 5 minutes we'll do a Q&A session. Okay, so Imam Zain al-Abidin wanted to highlight that dua is what allows us to have a strong relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this book that he compiled, it has 51 du'as in it for every single stage in one's life. Brothers and sisters, it has a dua for your mother, for your father, when you are sick, when you are in trouble, when you are about to go to jihad, and every single other aspect of your life that you will go through, or every single scenario that you will go through, there is a dua for you that you can recite that will help you in that scenario. So, to have a connection with Imam Zain al-Abidin and Karbala, read this book. Okay. There is one particular dua that I want you to maybe just have a look at tonight before going to sleep. Okay. It is the dua for family. Okay. Through his book, he wanted to also highlight the importance of good manners towards family and friends. Brothers and sisters, I am starting to see wherever I go, okay, I'm starting to see relationships between family members become strained. Relationship between community members becoming strained. Relationships and good manners has gone out the window when it comes to your family, towards your siblings, towards your sisters, towards your family, your extended family, your cousins, your uncles, your aunties. And Imam Zain al-Abidin, he could see the same thing at that time, that brothers were willing to kill their brothers, sisters not talking to their sisters, family members cutting ties with their family, in-laws not talking to each other anymore, community members not talking to each other anymore. And Imam Zain al-Abidin came to change this. He socially reformed this problem through this book of his. Through the book, the Saif al-Sajadiyah, he changed all of this. Now, just like I said, practical lessons for our life. Let's just go back for a second. Think about how you treat your brothers and sisters. Think about how you treat your family members. Think about how you treat your community members. Are you someone who's known to be kind to others? Are you known to be someone who speaks softly with others? Are you someone who speaks with respect? Or the opposite? Are you someone that people don't want to talk to? Do you have a foul mood on you? Do you not wake up in the morning with a happy sense of being? You need to reflect on who you are. Because if truly we are to follow the path of the Ahlul Bayt and Imam Zainul Abidin, we would have the best manners towards our family members and our friends. We would have the best of manners towards everybody in our society, in our community. Okay. Now, I think Shabir has a question, but look, this is the last question that I'll answer. And then, like I said, please write your questions down on a piece of paper. Yes, Shabir. Shabir, you got your hand up? Okay, maybe he doesn't have a question. Okay, let's continue on. Number three. Okay, so far we've learned two ways that Imam Zain Abidin reformed the society after the tragedy of Karbala. Number one, through teaching these servants of his and then sending them off to do tabligh, focusing on the youth. Number two, through his book of du'as. And number three, he wrote a monumental book called Risalat al Haqooq, which is translated as the Book of Rights. This book has every single right a human being has toward and responsibility they have towards others. Every single relationship that you have, every single thing that you have, he has written a right on. Okay. Now we all hear the UN being this wonderful international body that talks about human rights and justice and all this kind of stuff. You've all heard of probably the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, but it only has like 20. Okay. But this book has everything you need, written 1400 years ago by our master, Imam Zainul Abidin. There is one right that in particular stands out, and I want to mention to every single one of us. And it's a reminder to me, it's a reminder to every single brother and sister that's here, especially our young ones. That is the right of your father. Number one, know that he is your root and you are his branch. And know that if it wasn't for him, you wouldn't be. So, whenever you see anything good in yourself that impresses you, know that it is your father's blessings that allowed you to achieve it. The very meaning, brothers and sisters, the very meaning of the Ahlul Bayt and Imam Hussein's sacrifice, okay, is how you treat your parents. Okay. This is a massive problem we have in our communities. This is a massive problem that we have in Western society today. Do you know one of the biggest industries in the Western world is? You know what it is? It's old homes. It is the most profitable industry. One of the most profitable industries that you can have in the West is an old home, where children send their parents to live in this place where they can get taken care of by strangers. Children abandoning their parents. This is the society that we live in. Not only that we see, like when I go to the shops, unfortunately, I see old parents walking alone on a walking stick or on a wheelchair because they've been sent to the old homes by their parents. Even though they cry in their rooms every night, the kids are nowhere to be seen. So that's number one. Number two, I told you this in our last session. Every single thing that we are being bombarded by, be that social media, be it by popular media, be it by movies or shows, is teaching us one thing: that respect towards parents isn't important. That respect towards elders isn't important. But Imam Zainul Abidin, through his book, Imam Hussein's very being, was all about respect towards parents. Don't ever forget that, okay? So 3 things we've learned there, all right? So please remember that. Now, I just want to focus quickly, just so we're just now concluding, brothers and sisters, before we get to practical lessons. Okay. Indeed, Imam Ali al Rida says one thing. Indeed, Hussein is the lantern of guidance in the ark of salvation. Whenever you are in trouble, whenever you feel lonely, whenever you feel a sense of sadness, remember Imam Hussein, because he is the ark of salvation. Brothers and sisters and parents who are listening, especially for them, depression amongst youth is on the rise, unfortunately. The data is showing significant amount of percentage of our kids are our youth who are finding themselves to feel a sense of loneliness, a sense of hopelessness and depression. And Imam Hussein is the cure. Remembering his tragedy allows you to be saved from all of the challenges that you face in your life. There is no doubt about that. Because Imam Hussein gives you hope when there is none. And I'll talk about that later. But just quickly, okay, there are a couple of things that I want to just talk about Imam Hussein. That's very important for us to understand. Unfortunately, many of us only know Imam Hussein's life in his last year, right? But he lived for 50 plus years on this earth. We don't know much about his early life. Okay. And there's one thing in particular that stands out for me. And if you were at my previous lecture where we talked about how we can prepare ourselves for Imam Mahdi's arrival, you remember what I said there. It's about parents. But there was one particular thing that I want to talk about quickly, how the Prophet, through his relationship with Imam Hassan and Imam Hussein, reformed society, that I want to leave with you today. Before the Prophet's relationship with his grandchildren, the Arabs, and in fact, all of the world, had this warrior mentality where men were not allowed to show affection towards their children. It was seen to be a taboo. It was seen to be a weakness. If you showed affection towards your children, it was seen to be a weakness of yours. So no one used to show it, right? But through the relationship of Prophet Muhammad with Imam Hussein, the Prophet reformed society's ideas of how you should treat young people. Whenever Imam Hussein used to come in, Prophet Muhammad used to make it a habit of his to stand up and hug and kiss them on the forehead, to play with them, to let them play on his shoulders. And the reason why he did that was to change and reform society's ideas around how to treat children. So the next time your father or your mother or your grandfather or your uncle shows affection towards you, I want you to remember why and how this affection came about. It's because of Imam Hussein's relationship with his grandfather. And number two, I want you to leave with Imam Hussein's early life. Through Imam Hussein, the Prophet wanted to show one thing. And he did that at Najran on the event of Mubahala, that children must be at the forefront of this religion. I'm going to leave that with you again, parents. Brothers and sisters, I'm going to leave that with you again. How can we achieve this? Must become a priority for our communities. It goes against the very teachings of the Ahlul Bayt and the very teachings of the Prophet. If our children are at the back, if our children are not at the forefront, you are going against the teachings of the Prophet. Okay. All right. Let's have a look at some
Can you
of
repeat?
personal development from Karbala. Sorry, what was that, Ali?
Can you repeat the last line you said before? I didn't really.
Just this last one. So
Mhm.
I was just saying, Ali, that this is a message to all our parents, to yourselves, to young people as well. That you are never too young to take leadership opportunities in your community. Okay, that's what I was trying to say. All right, Ali. Okay. All right. So Karbala and personal development. We've learned many lessons. Okay, we've learned many lessons throughout these last 6 sessions. But I want to focus on a few. Okay, and I wanted to say this. And I've said this to many of my students in the past. Okay, people who have been around me. That Karbala gives you a blueprint for success in this life and the hereafter. It's a blueprint. It's a map. It gives you just one day, just one day, it gives you a roadmap, a blueprint to success. Okay, how? You might ask. It teaches you what it truly means to self sacrifice for Allah. When you wake up in the morning for Fajr, that's self sacrifice. Okay. When you stop everything that you do at Zohar time and you go pray, that's self sacrifice. When you are tired after a day's hard work and you go and you pray Maghrib, that's self sacrifice. When you will fast throughout these next 30 days, that's self sacrifice. Karbala teaches you what it actually means to sacrifice yourself for the way of Allah. Never be afraid to stand up for truth and justice. Never be afraid to self sacrifice. Doesn't matter what you think might be on the line. If somebody is being oppressed in front of you, raise your voice no matter what the physical cost is. Don't let it cost you spiritually by staying silent. Never ever allow that. Karbala teaches you that. It gives you the spirit, it gives you the means to fight for oppression, against oppression. It gives you the means to stand up for truth and justice. Okay? Two, time is flying, by the way. It teaches you self discipline. That's extremely important. Okay. And the next one ties into it. It teaches us the importance of praying on time, no matter what the circumstances. This in turn teaches you to be disciplined over your time. Brothers and sisters, every successful individual will tell you be disciplined with your time. And if Karbala doesn't teach you to be disciplined with your time, then you have missed the point. You have missed the point. Imam Zamana is the Imam of your time. Okay? And every single thing in your life revolves around time. So be disciplined over it. Don't let time run you. You should run time. You should be a master over your time. Discipline yourself. No matter what the circumstances was, Imam Hussein on the 10th of Ashura, the 10th of Muharram, on Ashura Day, showed us one thing clearly: pray on time. That in turn teaches us to be disciplined over time. Like I said before, every successful man and woman will tell you that because I mastered my time, I'm successful today. But yet our imams have been talking about discipline over our time for 1400 years plus. So master your day, master your time. You become the master of it. Okay? Number four, it gives us hope in every circumstance and situation in our life. I see hundreds upon hundreds of students every single day when I go to work, from the age group of 15 to 19. And you know, one thing that I see in them? A lack of hope. Even though they've got everything, materialistically, they have everything. They have a roof on top of their head, they have food to eat, they've got good health, they've got a laptop to do their studies on, they've got access to library, they have access to education without doing nothing. They don't have to do anything for it, but they have all of that. They have parents to go home to, but yet these Western kids, these Westerners, there's one thing that is haunting them, and that is hopelessness. In Imam Hussein's story and the tragedy of Karbala, or the story of Karbala, gives us hope even in our most darkest moments. There have been so many reverts who descended upon Karbala on Arba'in last year, who say one thing and one thing only, that Imam Hussein saved me from myself. Imam Hussein's story saved me from hopelessness, from darkness. And by being repeated over and over again about Imam Hussein's tragedy, or Imam Hussein's life and his story, and Ashura, what happened on Ashura, it gives us light when there is none. Just think about it for a second. 72 men were massacred in one day. Militarily, they lost. They were massacred. Yet, Imam Hussein won the war. He lost the battle, but he won the war. Doesn't that give us hope? Doesn't that give you impetus that you can overcome any situation in your life? Of course it does. Karbala also teaches us to think about the collective and not the individual. It shouldn't be I. It should be we. What does that mean? It means, on a practical level, in your own homes, brothers and sisters, when you're with your siblings, don't just think about yourself, think about others. Think about the we, think about the collective. That goes against what we're being taught right now. Think about others first before you think about yourself. And the last one is absolutely crucial. Despite all the odds, Imam Hussein achieved victory in his mission. This gives you impetus and the belief that if you put your mind to it and you put your effort into it, you can achieve greatness in this world and the hereafter. There is no challenge that you cannot overcome if you put your mind to it, because Imam Hussein's story is a testament to this. 72 men were killed, despite the propaganda against the Ahlul Bayt, against Imam Ali, against our Imams. Who is honored more than Imam Hussein and the likes of Imam Ali? No one. No one is honored more. And that is gives you one thing, it gives you impetus and belief. These are practical life lessons. So it doesn't matter if you're 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old. If you put your mind to it, you can achieve anything. Our older kids that are here today, Imam Zain al-Abidin gave that khutbah at Yazid's Darbar, or Yazid's courtyard, after traveling through the heat for many, many days, being dragged from Karbala to Damascus. Yet he was calm, cool, and collected, and his response to Yazid was so monumental that every single word of Imam Zain al-Abidin lasted for 1400 years till today. It didn't just shake Yazid's palace, it shook every single criminal, every single leader that was oppressive to the core. That is why the majority of any just movement that we've had in the last few centuries, the core of it has been Imam Hussein. The core of it, Malcolm X, the civil rights movement, was inspired by Imam Hussein's story. Mahatma Gandhi was inspired by Imam Hussein's story. Right? That's the last century. But all the all the great movements, the social revolutions that we've had in the past, they've had one man at its core that gave those people belief, it gave them hope. That was Imam Hussein's story. And if every single day you wake up and you honor this man, it gives you one thing that nobody around you has: belief in yourself, light when darkness is around. And one thing that no one can teach us, no one can give us, and that's hope. Imam Hussein gives us hope. So the last question I want to answer very quickly, and I want to leave with you: was Imam Hussein's revolution successful? Well, of course it was. Okay? And this is why he said in his last letter to his companions and to everybody in humanity, surely whoever joins me from among you will be martyred, and whoever remained behind will not witness the victory. Wa alaikum assalam. That statement has stayed with me for the last, I don't know how many years. Just have a look at the language, right? But how true it is. Okay, I think I went through these last time, okay, and we'll leave it there. So just in conclusion, brothers and sisters, so we can have 5 minutes of Q&A. Remember Imam Hussein's sacrifice, and you will have the blueprint for success in your life wherever you go. Be it you stay in Australia or you migrate, be it you are a student or becoming a doctor, be you a 15 or 16-year-old going towards HSC or going towards year 11 and 12, be you a year 10 student who's struggling socially at school. Doesn't matter what scenario you are in your life, Imam Hussein sacrificed, and the last day of his life is a blueprint for success in your life. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala
اللهم صل على
Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Okay, now I have literally 3 minutes to allow you to have some questions. And Abbas Rizvi, please. I think your dad's name is Abbas. What's your name?
Ali,
Ali. Tell me what your question is. Go, please.
what are 3 actions that can bring us closer to Imam Hussein?
Fantastic. What a question. What a question. Number one, I want you to pray on time. Okay? So to be disciplined over your time. Ali, you look very young. How old are you, brother?
I'm 9, I'm turning 10.
You're turning 10. So inshallah, you're moving towards teenage years. But even now, okay, at this young age, make it a habit to pray on time. Number one. Number two, if you truly want to honor Imam Hussein, make sure your mannerisms, your behavior, and your akhlaq towards your family members is the best. Okay? And I include that. So 2.1 is respect towards your parents. Okay. And number three, I want you to become, I want you to be so disciplined over yourself that you have a balanced lifestyle, that you break up your day in a way where you can achieve all your goals without missing on anything. So, part of your day should be towards getting close to Allah, so spirituality. Okay? Number two. And so, other parts of your day should be about your physical health. Other parts of your day should be dedicated towards halal entertainment. Other part of your day should be dedicated towards your education. And the fifth part, you should dedicate your time and balance of your lifestyle towards your family members. Okay? Brother Ali Nakvi, you have a question again. MashaAllah, very impressed. Go.
I have like 4 questions.
4 questions. Whoa. Okay. Go with the most one that you think is important to you. Okay.
I don't know.
All
What
right. Ask which one
like
you want.
what does affection mean like to your parents?
Affection
Yeah, like what
from your affection from your parents means when
like
they show.
you're not like parents I know are allowed to show affection to children. Like explain that in a more easier way.
Okay. So before Prophet Muhammad came in this world, okay, before he was born, and during his lifetime, fathers, especially fathers, were not allowed to show love towards their kids. It was seen to be weakness. But through Prophet Muhammad's relationship with his grandchildren, specifically Imam Hussein and Imam Hassan alayhi salam, the Prophet changed this concept or changed this idea. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
He showed that a true man, a true warrior, does show love and affection towards their kids. Okay? All right. So any
What
other question that you might have?
yeah, like what do you mean like you go to Karbala and that gives you a blueprint? Like what like explain blueprint in like an easier way.
Okay, so have you ever seen a map, a road map before?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, you've seen a road map. Okay, I'll give you an easier one. Okay, 21st century example. Let's say that you need to go to some destination. Okay, and there are many ways you can get to that destination. All right, but you don't know which one is the best way to get to it. The quickest, the fastest, the most enjoyable, the most beneficial to you. So what do? You go to Google Maps. Yeah? You
Yeah.
put in the address, you put in the address, it gives you a blueprint. How to get to that destination in the best manner. Well, Karbala, Karbala, and Imam Hussein's tragedy and the life of the Ahlul Bayt, they are your roadmap to success in this world. Okay? Yeah? Good
My
question.
other question is what do you mean what is like mobile? You said mobile and something, sir.
Mobila, yes, the event of Mobila. I want you to do, give me some, I've got some homework for you. Tonight, before you go to sleep, I want you to ask your mother, okay, to give you a bedtime story about the event of Mobila, okay? She'll tell you. All right? It's an event. It's a famous event. Okay. That does bring our time to an end, brothers and sisters. It is 9:33 and I'm about to be scolded by Brother Abbas Sayyid. Yes, Sayyid. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam, Zain. So thank you all for attending the sessions. Thank you to the parents, children, Zain and Muhammad Abbas Virji. You guys did a wonderful job. It was really good that all the sessions was very interactive, and we got the feedback from parents and everyone involved. Even though that this is the last session of the Understanding Karbala series, but please, all the parents, children, Zain, and I'm gonna convey this message to Muhammad Abbas Virji. Please stay tuned with us. We are immediately after Ramzan, we would be giving you a complete calendar for next 6 months program. It will include monthly lectures. It will have picnic day out, these kind of activities for the young, for the children, and up to age from 5 to 15, 16. We are planning that, so please stay tuned with us, and we will bring you some more program. The the gist of all these efforts are that our kids get more closer to the teachings of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. And of course, it's a learning process for us as well, being parents. Thank you all. Shabba khair. Take care of yourself and see you in the next program. Thank you.
Thank you.